I know what you're thinking, but geekdom, Ultra Ego Vegeta would stomp on Jiren easily. Maybe it's not so easy. There's a lot of contradictory statements that have been made when it comes to Dragon Ball Super's power scaling. So today we're going to do a deep analysis about Jiren versus Ultra Ego Vegeta. Vegeta's most powerful form so far versus the strongest in the multiverse, or at least that's what they said he was. Is he still the strongest mortal? And does it contradict anything? What's going on here? We have a lot to talk about next. I've been using NordVPN for years, not just to protect me with one-click online protection, but also to unlock content from international versions of my favorite streaming services. And if I travel to another country, I can also access the stuff from home. Safely, securely, and easy. All you gotta do is just click the country you want to access or the servers in that said country, and boom, you are connected. Right now, get 4 months extra on a 2-year plan over at nordvpn.com/geekdom. It's risk-free. You get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So that's nordvpn.com/geekdom. Try it out today and secure your online experience. Ultra Ego Vegeta versus Jiren. Jiren has only battled Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta in the anime, and of course, the other variant of Blue in the manga. And he obviously fought against Ultra Instinct Goku way back when. We haven't seen Jiren since then, but we have seen Vegeta, and we've seen him evolve to learn Force Spirit Fission in the manga, and eventually get the powers of a God of Destruction, Ultra Ego Vegeta. But Jiren at one time was said to be higher than Gods of Destruction, but they didn't specify which ones, and that's a whole other debate. But today we're going to be discussing Ultra Ego Vegeta versus Jiren. And joining me, once again, I want to welcome back Prided Waif to the channel as we talk about this battle. Now, originally, man, I thought that UE Vegeta would stomp Jiren, but it's not so simple.
No, it's not. You would think that because of everything that they've been through or whatnot, but no, it's not that simple.
Now, in the Dragon Ball Super superhero film, which we know takes place now after the events of the Moral and Granola arc, however, the manga is going to move things around possibly. We're not entirely sure what the future is going to hold for that. But I will say that in the timeline it takes place after, there's a whole discussion being made about Jiren and about how Vegeta states that, well, it wasn't so much about his strength, but it was also about how much he controlled his body. And I think that kind of nerfed Jiren in the eyes of a lot of people. However, that does not necessarily mean that he is not as strong as he used to be. And if anything, Jiren may have been training all this time. But I want to not go down that road for a minute. I want to discuss this Dragon Ball Super interval special. Now, I want to let everybody know I did not cover this when it came out. This came out, I think a few months ago. I did not cover it because I was out of town, and by the time I got back, I didn't think it was that important. But there's actually one statement that's made in the interval special that Herms did translate that goes into Jiren and discusses that Jiren may not have actually been nerfed, man. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it still states that Jiren is still the strongest warrior in the multiverse. Now, whether you think that they're just saying that because that was stated during the arc, or whether you think they're saying that even currently as of it is right now, when you go and you actually dissect everything, you looked at like what's been going on, that's most likely the case that he's still the strongest warrior in the multiverse.
Yeah, it's up for debate because the thing people have to also understand is that the scaling in the anime and the manga do differ somewhat. It's not entirely different, but UI Goku was shown to be much more powerful in the anime than he was in the manga because he was able to beat Jiren in episode 130, whereas in the manga, Jiren never really lost to UI Goku in the same way at all. So that's one difference. But the interval special, it did come out after Ultra Ego was even shown. So the interval special, if you were to lean on that statement literally, Jiren is still so very, very powerful and still stronger than Vegeta even in UE. But one thing that I have to really hammer home for everybody, and this has been the case for quite some time, I think Dragon Ball Super kind of made it worse, but there were contradictory statements going all the way back to Dragon Ball Z's run, and that is that there's contradictory statements. Like, you'll have Toriyama say something that'll contradict what a character says, that'll contradict what a special says. Like, Shueisha, when they print these things, they don't always check with Toriyama. They sometimes just check with an editor, or they just print things out and nobody really cares. And because of that, the scaling can be so confusing for some people. You know?
Correct. If we want to be, I'm being funny. I'm being funny at the same time. But if you want to look at it from Toriyama's perspective, since Toriyama was the one who did everything with Jiren, and he didn't really have any foresight to give him Vegeta a power up, and he also did everything with Beerus and whatnot, it kind of seemed like Vegeta just getting a short end of the stick.
Right. And one of the things I want to hammer home in this video, y'all, is that you really could make an argument. This is why these debates are fun, for a lot of people being the strongest. You could say Broly because of what Victor Uchida said. You could say Gohan Beast because of what Toriyama said more recently. You could say Jiren because of this statement, which I think it came out after Toriyama's statement, even though it may have been written before. You can say Goku based on just, hey, he's got him being Goku, right? So,
and the fact that he said this is the ultimate Goku, the ultimate warrior.
Yes, that's been said a few times. Like, you really, and then of course we have Black Frieza looming in the background, who KO'd UE Vegeta and UI Goku. So it's a much more difficult debate to have. Now, how do you see this going down? Because yes, the interval special said what it said, and Toriyama said what he said, and we saw Vegeta perform relatively well with UE, but he didn't really master the form yet. How do you think this goes down? But I'm also going to ask you about Hakai in a minute, but physically, do you think that Vegeta's ultra ego could actually eat Jiren's blows like what he did to Granola?
No.
Really? Tell me more.
I'm going to say the reason why I don't think it would just eat Jiren's blows like that is because it's going to physically wear down Vegeta eventually. Like, yeah, Vegeta going to be getting steam and fuel, but we see that Vegeta cannot. He cannot sustain too much damage because he himself is still learning to evolve his own ultra ego. Not even just Granola. When he was going against Gas, now, he was able to overcome most of everything that Gas was throwing, but he ended up gassing out.
Right. Pun intended.
But he ended up gassing out, and we also know Gas doesn't have no confidence in his power. Someone like Jiren, who knows how to use his power and is very confident in his power, he's not going to take no bull crap at all from Vegeta.
Well,
he's not going or play with Vegeta like Granola and Gas did.
Right, and Granola and Gas both had to learn about their bodies with the wishes being made. Jiren has trained his whole life. We saw the backstory in the anime, all that stuff. This guy is a legitimate martial artist, and that's the point that Vegeta made to Goku in the superhero movie, that Jiren has not just power, but also body control. Now, I know someone in the comments is probably going to say, well, geekdom, Jiren probably took lessons from the fight with Goku and is probably training to get stronger. And that is definitely probably true. Like, if they have a TOP2, you would think that at this level, Goku and Vegeta would just run through everybody, but no, Jiren may have been training. However, taking that into account, yeah, anybody will win in that case. Now, here's the real question, though. Talking about not just the blows and the power of UE Vegeta, obviously, we can play that game with Vegeta too. He hasn't really mastered UE. We're going to see him try and master it down the road. He may show an incredible power that Jiren can't mess with later on. But for right now, though, with this sort of unpolished ultra ego that he has, do you think that Hakai can work on Jiren? Keeping in mind that we saw Toppo do the Hakai, but that was also in the anime version. Right, so it gets confusing when we're comparing both continuities. What do you think about Vegeta's Hakai against Jiren?
Vegeta's Hakai is kind of trash. Listen, the showings in the super manga, which I said this when he very first used the Hakai.
Entropy.
Yeah, when he very first used it, I called it. I said this was just a throwback of when Goku went against Beerus in Battle of the Gods, and he used that big old sphere of destruction, which I guess it was the Hakai in the manga for Toyotaro, and he overcome it, and he broke through it and went through the potential. It was the same callback and everything, but that is Vegeta's strongest, according to super manga, according to everything up to date, that is Vegeta's strongest attack is the Hakai Blast, the Sphere of Destruction. So, and I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna do anything because if we look at Vegeta and the way he used Ultra Ego, everybody from the God of Destruction Battle Royale was at least able to affect Beerus with their God of Destruction power. If Jiren is above even the weakest one, we know that he's just stronger than the God of Destruction. So even if he's above just one, I don't think Vegeta his Hakai will be able to do anything because Jiren power will be above the Hakai. He will be able to nullify the Hakai, just like Granola nullified the Hakai. Granola hit its weak point and destroyed the Hakai Blast.
That's the issue with this, is that it's not black or white. The manga is, but I mean, like, literally it's black or white. What I mean is it's not black or white in the sense of, yes, logically and based on what we've seen and based on the part of the timeline we're in now, Vegeta would win, but we have to also remember some other things too. Jiren has an incredible amount of speed. He is so fast. Let's not forget this. And again, a lot of this was the anime, but it happened in the manga too. He is so fast that he's able to compete with Ultra Instinct Goku, which we know has speeds that that only gods can really see. Like, it's very difficult to really see it. Well, I mean, mortals saw it a little bit with Omen, but when we're talking about silver-haired Goku, that's a whole other story. The dude is just incredibly quick, and Jiren is too. And also, Jiren, when they fought in the Tournament of Power, the anime, you could almost sense that Jiren was holding back and then little by little maybe got weaker, whereas in the manga, Jiren didn't show that much of a weakness. Now, again, two different forms of media, two different producers. That's the issue,
Yeah. Jiren ended up losing in the manga because he got hit off guard.
Right.
In the anime, he just straight up get overpowered,
Yeah. And then Goku's body broke apart.
His body broke apart. Goku beat him in the anime. His body broke apart and everything like that. But I'm saying Frieza, when the teamwork and stuff came in, they were able to just straight up overpower, Jiren or whatever, knock him off or whatnot when he wasn't able to stop them. But in the manga, they had to literally hit him off guard.
So you think, I want to make sure we clarify this, the comment sections I don't want them to chew you up now. Hey,
it don't matter what they say. I can argue so many different ways.
Right, but you believe, I want to make sure we clarify this, that Vegeta's Hakai, that Jiren would be able to nullify the Hakai, because that's a big statement, man. That is a big statement.
Yeah, he will be. There's no reason why he shouldn't be able to nullify Hakai if Vegeta is not stronger than any other God of Destruction. He might be comparable to the God of Destruction, but he's not stronger than any God of Destruction. As far as we know.
As far as we know, but also, to add to that, even if he can't, I'm going to say this for argument's sake, even if he can't nullify the Hakai, will Vegeta be able to hit him with it? Because remember, Jiren's fast. He can move out of the way. People forget that sometimes you can move out of the way. And yes, if you're blowing up planets and maybe there's the whole thing with you don't want to move because the planet might blow up, Jiren might not care. He's not like Goku, right? He might just say, I'm going to save myself. And obviously he is a pride trooper. He is a hero, but we're going to assume that this fight's going to take place in Universe 7. Now, if it's in Universe 11, a little bit different story. Jiren may actually care about the innocent people there, but also Jiren also knows about the Dragon Ball. So he might just think to himself, okay, well, if this guy's going to Hakai me, I'm either going to die or the planet will die. I'll let the planet die and summon the Dragon Balls anyways and wish it back. He knows about these things now. So you have to remember all these little, it's not quite scaling, but it is part of the story and it needs to be discussed that, okay, maybe Jiren will let the planet blow up and just move out of the way and be able to defeat Vegeta. Maybe even if he thinks that Vegeta is such a threat that he has to beat him, Jiren might not waste time. All that meditation stuff he did, he may actually take the fight seriously. We've never actually seen him do that, like go in for the kill quickly, but we're talking about a guy who has God Destruction powers, and the fact that he knows Toppo and he's close to him, and Toppo is trained to be a God Destruction, like that right there, just Toppo being in his ear telling him, listen, take this fight seriously, this guy's doing what the training that I'm doing, that might be enough for Jiren to say, I got to take this guy out. You got to remember that, y'all.
Well, you also have to factor into Jiren's character because it's a little more in depth in the manga. Jiren actually cares about everybody. He didn't actually, the reason why he even acted the way he did in Turning Powers because he didn't want to be there, and he actually didn't want to be the reason why everybody got eliminated.
No, you're right. It's just that, and that's my point. Is that since he knows about the Dragon Balls, yes, innocent people dying is bad, but he also knows I can wish them back.
Yeah, but I also think since he knows that he could probably wish them back or whatever, he's not gonna allow. He's still not gonna. His character's not gonna allow him to just sit back and let these people be white. His character actually is this whole thing. His trope is for power. Why he's a muscle meathead and stuff
Right.
is he wants to take the strongest attack and prove that
That's
he can
true.
overcome
He did that to the
strongest
Spirit Bomb,
body.
the Genki Dama.
That's the reason why he would not dodge that attack. He would actually take that attack head on, and I'm pretty positive he would nullify that attack from Vegeta.
This
In
is
fact,
a fun debate, man. And even okay, one more thing. Even if he doesn't nullify it, he might be able to. He might, and I'm saying might because I can't prove this. He might be able to launch it back.
well, yeah, that falls. If that's if he wants to. I don't think he would launch it back. I think he would just notify it to show that he has the power in order to destroy it. And it doesn't matter how he does it because even someone like Gas, who doesn't have confidence in his own power, even though he was the strongest one,
That's true.
he even did the same thing. And Vegeta told him, "Oh, if you are truly the strongest in the universe, why don't you take this Hakai blast?" And Vegeta knew damn well that wasn't going to stop him. But Gas was like, "All right, bet."
It's funny because this discussion is a lot of fun, but there's a lot of nuance to it. Like there's a lot of factors and variables, man, that make it not as simple as people think.
Yeah, it's so. Jiren is also a better fighter than Vegeta. That's another thing we have to also put in
A
there.
lot of people would disagree with you on that one. I'm not saying that I disagree, but a lot of
Can
people would.
disagree all they want, but Jiren literally is the only character besides Gas, because Gas had to cheat. But the only character, and besides Granola, because Granola had a cheat code, but then he ended up getting countered, is the only character that was able to fight back Ultra Instinct on different levels of Ultra Instinct. Even the ones that were shown to be the Sudo, Sudo, however you say that word.
Pseudo UI. Like you talk about like Omen and whatnot.
With Roshi.
Yeah. That's right.
And Roshi was stated, before Goku mastered Ultra, before he attained Ultra Instinct and stuff, that he was the greatest martial artist amongst them all. So we have to understand the levels and techniques and the level of knowledge and the way that Jiren has high fighting intelligence.
Right. I agree with that.
High fighting intelligence. So, and Vegeta doing everything that he could, he was just getting overpowered by Jiren. Even if you put them on equal levels, that Vegeta is still admiring in Superhero, which is after the Granola arc. He's still admiring and he's putting in the ways that Jiren moved.
That's true.
Utilizes Jiren's combat movements into his own, shows you that the level that Jiren was at, nobody was at that level in terms of martial arts, including the Gods of Destruction. This was the reason. It's a combination of everything. Is the reason why they put Jiren so high and why he really isn't. He's seen as someone that a God of Destruction cannot defeat. Even with Bardock, let's use Bardock versus Gas, for example. Bardock was way, way weaker than Gas. He still was a way better combatant than Gas ever would be.
Right.
That goes back to Vegeta back in chapter 73. We're saying, to Granola, you may be the strongest and your power is way above mine, but you have no battle experience and you don't know what you're doing with that power. You don't know how to wield that power. You have no combat experience compared to my thousands of battles that I've been in. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's something else, though. That Vegeta's a great martial artist, too. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you that Jiren's a great martial artist, but Vegeta is, too. However, I think that point would go to Jiren based on what you just said about Vegeta trying to be more like Jiren. Like, if Vegeta's trying to be more like Jiren, it almost feels like he has that subtle respect for him, that he knows, like, okay, I'm a great fighter, but this guy, I can still learn.
Yeah, he can still learn, but this guy is also greater than what he was able to do. He noticed the more little movements and the explosiveness and stuff that adds to your power, that adds to your strength. So let me take this and add this to what I already know, because this will make my fighting more efficient and longer, and better or whatnot. So that showed that Jiren was at a higher level than what they were.
Yeah.
And from what we do know also from all the information and everything between anime and manga, Jiren is always training. Mind, body, and spirit. He's always training.
Yep.
Always.
No, and that's what I'm saying. He that's why if somebody says, well, Jiren's still training, I mean, yes, he is, but is the new more powerful Jiren. We haven't seen him yet. So until we see
We haven't
him,
seen him.
yeah. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to revisit this topic when we see Jiren again, and then we can always look back at this video and kind of compare and contrast notes. But for right now, this is an interesting topic. Of course, leave a comment like always. Let us know what you think. It's still a tough one because there's point counterpoint to be made here, and it's not that simple. But I want to thank you for being here, though, bro.
Oh, no problem. This discussions like this is always good because you can argue for Vegeta, you can argue for Jiren, you can really argue for any of these characters to be the strongest, and that could be a video that we can get into the next one.
I mean, the thing is, man, I tell everybody this. When a statement is made about somebody being the strongest, the best thing to look at it, and this has always been the case in Dragon Ball, is, yeah, for now. For now. Because it changes so much. And now, with anime, manga, movies, it's never ending. So, hopefully we'll get some more clear answers in the future. Take care.